Welcome to Senior Moments. We're here today covering a news subject today, and it's a follow-up of a program that we did with David Ayers on the challenges in the auto industry. And now we want to know more about what's happened in the used car market, because it's changed the dynamics not only for his business like that, but for even all the franchises. And so there's a lot of different things going on right now out there, and we thought that this guy, who has been around for many, many years, and as you already read, if you've seen his other show and like that, he's a great communicator. So we thought, oh, let's see if we can get David to tell us a little bit about what's happening in the used car business. So David, here's your chance, and please give us what you see now, because you've been around for a long time.
Well, thank you, Don, as have you, and we've appreciated the years that we've had for our customers and being in this business. As we had been in the repair sector for years, and actually through 2 generations, we grew our business because of the demand to the used car sector. And we've been doing this for about 12 years. And my wife and I have enjoyed it. We are fortunate to have one of our children working for us. Ashley runs the sales department here. And so we've met a need for our clients and our customers that really serves them in a way that we understand nobody else is doing. And that simply is from the purchase of buying a vehicle to replace, whether it's been in an accident or it shouldn't be repaired because of rust, which is a real common occurrence that we see. So we recognize that we can help them do that transition into another vehicle that'll give them longevity, that will give them a peace of mind, because we will service it for them. And we'll do it with an element of integrity, that we understand it's difficult maybe to come by an industry that's profit generated, motivated by profit. So we know that we offer a unique situation, and we take pleasure in the fact that we're able to get the confidence of customers, even such as yourself, Don, because they come to rely on the integrity and the honesty of the services that you provide. And so, we're now into our 30th year. I'll be 70 years old this coming November, and my wife and I have concluded that it's time now that we begin to look for the replacement owner. And so I'm happy to say that as of today, we'll have our businesses listed on MLS. We've got 4 properties that go with the business. We've got a fantastic business. It is a very active business. We've got 12 employees that have many of them that have been with us for almost 30 years. And so we're happy to say that we've got a full staff that is willing to serve our customers as we have taught them to. And so nothing changes, other than we're optimistically hoping that there is a young entrepreneur that can carry on in a tradition that we have. And if they're able to do that, if they're able to employ and will employ those elements of integrity and honesty, then they will come. They will send their families, send their friends, and we enjoy a robust business. And it is in part because people have that reliance on the confidence that they place on us. So we've seen, Don, over the course of the past 3 to 4 years, because of COVID, how the industry has changed, and globally it's changed. We're seeing a lot of exporters. We see a lot of foreign buyers coming in and buying. And so now at the auction, I'm competing against those individuals, but we stay in our own market sector. We like the vehicles that are proven to have a high reliability. So you'll see a lot of Mazdas. You'll see a lot of Toyotas. We have a real preference for Toyotas. You'll see occasionally some Subarus. So we use our experience to pick and choose those vehicles that we know that the manufacturer's record on those vehicles are that it's reasonable to think that you're going to get longevity with the correct service. And so we've seen it change a lot, Don. I see that there is a place in the market to be able to provide that service and the availability of vehicles. We've gone further south in our desire to get those vehicles that are less encumbered by rust. and we recognize that we serve our customer and that we can give them a vehicle they can get 5 to 7 years out of it because we do a rust-proofing process that's second to none. So we've grown the business due to the demand, and we've done so effectively, and we so appreciate the hundreds and actually thousands of customers that have used our services over the years, and we're just looking for that next generation that can come in, do the social media, do the internet advertising, do the Instagram. We do very limited market search like that and are utilizing those tools, but the person that does that can grow this business in a way that they would be benefited. They'd be rewarded.
This is a very interesting site that you have here too.
Yes,
I mean, you just told me that you've been here for 12 years and like that. I didn't realize that you've been here that long. But this was a brown site at one time, and look what you've done with it. And you have I would say, good exposure on the marketplace here because you're on the Barre Montpelier Road, which I think is the most traveled road in the whole area. So tell us a little bit about the site that you have here, because it seems to me that would be very important if somebody wanted to buy it tomorrow.
Yes. So this site, yes, it's on the Barre Montpelier Road. I think it's the second busiest street in the state. It goes anywhere from 16 to 23,000 cars a day. And so the location and the location and the location is in part very important when looking to enter into a retail business. So this property had been owned by Johnson & Dix for years. And there used to be fuel tanks here, of which unfortunately they had a leak and it was a contamination. And so they had to close this property down. They had built the building back in the early 80s, and the building is a beautifully constructed piece of property. And so the state closed them down and they went into a recovery mode. And so this property was vacant for, gosh, Don, I guess probably almost 20 years.
Really?
And I have purchased, as you know, other properties here in the city, so I was familiar with the regulations overseeing the care of the property. And once the property is had and deemed to have had a catastrophic failure of fuel disposal or whatever, then you can't do anything with that site. You can't disturb the ground, you can't move anything around, you can't pull off a building. Many people tried. There were a lot of people that recognized the value of this location, and they were refused that opportunity because they wanted to remove the building and do something else. Banks, everybody, but the cost to do so was too far or too much for them, so they recognized the return wouldn't be. I came along and I recognized that with the limited alterations that I could use the property effectively, we made an offer after evaluating the conditions that the state had collected over the period of several years. And we recognized that the property was almost at the end of its cycle to be recognized as being capped. And so fortunately, the owner accepted our offer, at which point shortly after, Irene happened.
Right.
And that deposited debris all over the property. The state came to everybody and they said, hey, listen, you can do alterations now, let's get, and so we simply cleaned it up, and the previous owner was gracious enough to allow us a small consideration for the debris that we had to clean up. So that was the beginning, Don, for us. We paved the yard, we cleaned up the inside of the building, and began the used car business. Yeah. And so we so appreciate it because it's been, for us, a great addition to what it is that we do. And it's created an opportunity for several individuals. This made it possible for us to buy an additional property, which was owned by Ernie LeBlanc, which is just across the street from our sales. And so we're in the process of getting the permits necessary so that we're able to open that up as a service center. So we'll have an additional 5 bays in addition to the 14,000 square foot building we own at 19 West 2nd Street, in addition to the property on Maple Avenue. And so it's got a lot of room for expansion,
A lot of potential.
a lot of potential.
With your operation that you have in the service and the parts department down in the other location, you should be able to tell me that this car has a routine that goes through it. I mean, where you take each part of it and you look at it and you make sure that that's working and like that. And when it isn't working, you replace it. Is that the right?
It is, Don. Our mission and purpose in our collision business and in our mechanical service is to use the best available information. When you do that, and there is a wealth of information out there that's available if you want to buy it. And so we expend hundreds of dollars a month to have available to us master technicians in what, I don't care if it's a Volvo, a Mercedes, a Subaru, a Toyota, or a Ford, or Chevy. I'm able to go to an individual to support us in our efforts to do what? To buy a vehicle, evaluate that vehicle from front to back, top to down. So we'll go down through and do compression tests. We'll disassemble brakes in totality. We'll absolutely examine the body to the depth and degree with spy cameras. And so we recognize for us to put into our customers' hands a vehicle that we deem is certifiable. When you buy a certified vehicle from a manufacturer, they have a stringent compliance. And so we believe that that's in our consumers' best interest. That model that they have developed, we recognize also in our collision business. That's our genesis. That's what we strive for. When we repair a vehicle that's been in an accident, we work diligently to replicate what the manufacturer had intended. Not what the insurance company wants, but what the manufacturer had intended. Now we've done is we've carried that over to our used car. And so we'll be offering a certified vehicle that will have front to bumper warranty. You can buy them for extended periods of times. It'll have a rust-proofing warranty that is not available from anybody else, and there's no one that goes to the degree that we do to effectively undercoat a car. We're professionals when it comes to undercoating, and we are the leader in this area because we are a collision expert. So we know where a vehicle needs to be rust-proofed and how it needs to be done. So that's a service that you can't get anywhere else except for here.
And now let's talk about the market that we're talking about here. You know, cars have been increasing in price for years now, and as a matter of fact, the new car is pretty expensive. And the used car market was really an out for a lot of these elderly people and people that had marginal incomes. Now they tell me that the used car business now is so high now that it's almost a retail. I mean, a new car like. And so tell us about what's happening in the marketplace and how you've adapted to it.
So there are certain models that in fact are in demand, and unfortunately the demand will increase. And so if they're looking for those diesels, if they're looking for those vehicles that are in short supply by the manufacturer, then those are the vehicles that people will say, oh, look at the market. There's still plenty of other vehicles out there that are going to be available at moderate prices. That's why we understand having a certified program and providing our customer the opportunity to have the reasonable expectation, Don, of getting 3 to 7 years out of that vehicle without having a frame rod off, without having the rocker panels destroyed or the bottom of the fenders. That's the genesis of what we're able to do for them, and that's a service that we're very good at doing. And so we can extend to them and provide them that protection. They can't get that from their new car dealer. Right. They're not going to get that from our competitors that are in the used car market. Does it provide an additional benefit? Obviously it does. And so we believe that when you compare apples to apples, that we compete more effectively against a new car dealer than we do the used car dealers, because we're different in that we recognize our customers' needs and desires and wants, and we're able to help them because we're hands-on people. You know, we're not schooled in the art of closing you on this deal, right, okay, and selling you this warranty, and selling you this paint protection, and selling you these items. We recognize that those are nice things that happen, but we like to package them in. And so as opposed to doing multiple layers of financing for 10 years, my gosh, we just realized that you can't, well, we hate seeing when customers come into us, Don, where they've gone through this experience at another dealer and they're literally so far upside down that they're going to have a large financial crisis. We don't like seeing those. It breaks our heart. And so we try and do the best for that customer that finds himself in that situation. And so we add just our experience and knowledge of maybe how to more effectively purchase transportation. And fortunately, we're able to help a number of those individuals. And so the market changes with the manufacturers not either manufacturing enough vehicles in a specific area or too many in another area, and or raising the prices, Don.
Yeah.
The prices now we're seeing on supplies and materials are increasing radically. And so we hunt diligently for the parts necessary to service our customers. And it's an effort, but you know what? That's why we're in business.
Exactly.
We like serving our customers' needs.
Well, you do very well in the summertime, and now it's getting into the fall and next the winter. How do you see for the future for the next couple of months, and what are we going to do? All when the snow starts coming.
Sure. So this is where we begin reaching out to our customers and making them available or making them aware that we're able to provide them a set of tires if it's not within their financial means. Why? Because we understand that customer is more apt to come to my collision shop if they don't have those tires. And so now coming into the winter, this is where it's essential that you have the vehicle service. Recognize the antifreeze, the belts, the tires, the brakes. All of those items are ready to go in a moment's notice if you're relying on that vehicle to travel to and from work. So we see that at this time we increase our customer base because of the collision service, because people neglect those things, and unless they hear it on TV or get an invitation from somebody to do those things, our business increases. But we understand that until they come in contact with our business, they're not going to have a full benefit or a full menu of options that we offered on. And so we see the electric cars are making an entrance into the marketplace, Don, but they're years away, even still. The cost and use of raw materials to produce those vehicles is staggering. It far outmeasures anything that's required by internal combustion. I only hope and pray, Don, that our research and development will be able to get the hydrogen engine into these vehicles, that we'll find the internal combustion engine can be modified to use propane, which it can very easily.
Yeah.
I would only hope and pray that our federal and state governments would help move us in that direction. It would be a wonderful improvement if we were to have the propane stations and have an internal engine. Instead of getting 200,000 miles out of it, you'd get hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles out of it, because you're getting rid of the carbon that's in dirties the oil, etc. And so that's available immediately for us. We know we've been using that technology for years. So my hope is that that next generation will come to know and understand and believe that in order to produce those batteries and the technology for the EVs, until they get the capacitors up to the point and or where they get and there's a lot of wonderful technology that's being developed now that we will see in our lifetime that will change the engineering of these vehicles. And as you go online and look at some of the engines that are using compressed air, it's pretty, compressed air and magnets, Don, with no internal combustion. It's really encouraging, and I look forward to that time that we could have that transmitted into these vehicles. The internal combustion engine is here for quite a while longer, and
Probably our lifetime.
I think so. Yeah, you know, our love of the car has grown, and is it going to change? Sure, it is. Fortunately, research and development will allow us to develop that carbon-free vehicle mode of transportation, and without getting into mining all of the precious metals and relying on other foreign countries that might be hostile to sharing those supplies with us. So it's good that we would be using our own resources and our own brain power, and turning within and helping one another on a larger basis than what we're seeing.